Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us for Access City Council. I'm your host, David Riggleman, Communications Director for the City of Las Vegas. Coming up on this program, we tell you about plans for a new regional park in Ward 6, and we'll have an update on all the events that took place in Ward 6. Of course, the councilwoman who represents Ward 6 is Michelle Fiore. Welcome back to the program. How are you?
I am good.
It's good to see you.
Happy New Year, but it's February already.
I know.
We've got Valentine's Day coming up.
I know, but this is the first show of the year for you,
yes.
So welcome back.
Thank you, thank you. We've been a little busy.
It's been a lot going on around here. We're going to take a quick look back through the show
absolutely.
at a little bit of the last stuff of 2020, but on to 2021. You know, I have to say, well, we'll get to that. You know Ward 6 very, very well. Let's orient everyone first. Councilwoman knows Ward 6 very well. This is her stomping ground. She knows it like the back of her hand. But for those of you who aren't really familiar with the geography of our area, well, that is Ward 6. It's at the top of the valley. If you live in that area or work in that area, then you are in the city limits of the city of Las Vegas. And of course, if you're a resident out there, you are represented by Michelle Fiore on the Las Vegas City Council. Councilwoman, it's been a crazy past year as we move into, shortly we'll be in March in another few weeks. And over this past year, we've had to do so many things different, no question. So many things kind of got set by the wayside. But I was impressed to hear that despite all of that, you usually normally have how many events in a given year?
About 60 to 65 events.
65 events. Mm-hmm. How many did you have over this past year, albeit done virtually, differently, in other ways? But
we had a little over 40.
That's amazing.
Yes, and we made them big. We made them big because we wanted to normalize as much as possible.
Yeah, because it was anything but normal. Yeah.
So, you know, from Easter to Halloween to back to school, even though they weren't in school, to Christmas for the whole month.
Yeah.
We really worked hard on making the kids feel like, okay, we're going to get through it.
It wasn't one more thing being canceled.
Right.
Now, granted, at Easter, it was a drive-through.
That was a fight, I have to tell you.
Drive-through Easter egg gathering, and the same thing at the holidays. It was a drive-through an experience out at the Magical Forest. Mm-hmm. Or our Christmas forest out there, but
the forest wasn't a drive-through. You walked through the forest.
I'm sorry, that's right.
You walked through the forest. You actually got a photo with Santa.
That's right.
We had Santa there the whole month.
But you had another drive-through event.
We did Halloween.
Halloween was a drive-through event.
And that was crazy. Okay. Halloween was crazy. We normally were going to do Halloween from 5 to 7. But we extended it till 8, and at 8 o'clock when we had to shut it down, there were still cars miles down. And I will tell you, we gave out so much candy. We set Halloween up as if, you know, we had the stage, we had the music, we had everything. Same with all the events. David, we really worked hard on making the kids, and the kids were happy and loving it, even though it was like tailgating. It was like a Halloween tailgating. The kids would open the trunk and we'd put candy in there, and
because that was
really
the only way they
amazing.
were going to get to do. So many kids were able to do Halloween this past year because in our neighborhood, nobody went trick-or-treating.
Right.
Nobody was out trick-or-treating this year.
We pushed the limits with Easter. I remember Sheriff Joe Lombardo.
Yes, he wasn't real thrilled at first. I know, I remember that.
Yeah, he called
But we reassured him, this is how we're going to set it up.
And he sent some of his officers out.
He did.
And it was great because they were really excited to see it done correctly.
Right.
And then they were encouraged that we could
still do it.
So many more
That's
things.
when the pandemic first really hit and all the regulations had first come into
being.
But
he's a great sheriff.
Yeah, and when he saw what we were doing, and that kind of set the standard. There were a lot of drive-through events after that, food distribution, all kinds of things throughout the year. So, well, I was amazed to hear that despite the year that we've had, you still managed to get on 40-some events.
Yeah, and you know, and it's so funny because when I would call some of my sponsors and I would go, hey, you know, we're doing Halloween. They're like, no, you're not. You can't shut down.
Yeah.
I'm like, have you met me?
We got away.
Yeah.
We got away.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
We're going to be safe, but we're going to do it this way.
Yeah, and
it was different. It was
so
a different year.
Santa Claus was there all through the month of December. We just had a plexiglass in front of him.
Exactly.
And the way they set it up, with the kids sitting in front of the plexiglass, it looked like they were close, but they weren't close.
Exactly.
It was really good.
Yeah, he was on the other side of the plexiglass.
Yeah.
That's right, and that's where all those pictures were generated.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about that a little later in the program, but Moving on, I was really surprised to hear this as well, that we are moving right along on that regional park out in your ward. So again, despite the pandemic, we're still making progress. Now this regional park is going to be near Log Cabin and El Capitan.
That's right. And we did a lot of interaction with the neighbors. So we had a town hall via Zoom. We had over 100 folks participate in the town hall. Over 600 folks participate in the survey.
Well, that's great.
But we really, the city staff and myself, worked really hard on getting letters out to everyone and saying, listen, we're building a regional park, but it's your park.
What do you want to see?
What do you want in it?
Right.
And I was so happy to see the amount of participation from the constituents, because that's what it's about.
Your ward really is good about that. When there's any kind of an event, there's a lot of participation. And I'm sure when people are going to have an opportunity to give input on something like a brand new park, you were going to get plenty of input, plenty of feedback on what it should look like, what it should include, not include. So what were they telling you? Dog park, water features?
A lot of the dog parks, baseball, soccer. And I'll tell you, I never really had a big opinion, which I know you find that hard to believe. But, as far as my community and stuff, before I became a councilwoman, I literally just relied on the council or the commission, to tell me what was going on. I really was never invited to participate. And once I became the council person for the ward here, I thought, I don't want to make these decisions, because if whatever decision I make, someone is going to go, why didn't we get soccer instead of baseball?
Right. Sure.
She likes baseball better than soccer, right? So I'm like, you know what, guys, forget that. You're making the decisions.
Yeah, sure.
And and you really have to be cautious and caring and hand-holding. Being the representative for Ward 6, it truly is a servant's position.
Well, and you've always been very good, and this is one of the things you've always said about listening. I want to hear what you have to say. Well, if you get 600 people in a survey and 100 in the Zoom meeting, and that's a pretty good representation of what ought to be out there. That's 700 folks just right there, and I'm sure you'll hear plenty from others as well. So that's great to hear.
Yeah, so it's been exciting.
So what's the time frame? When do we think that we'll be able to start?
We're in the design phase.
Yeah.
So we're probably looking at about 6 to 9 months before we maybe put a shovel in the ground. But we're working on it.
All right. We'll keep everybody posted. Yeah. That's exciting. So everybody, if you live in the area of El Cap and Log Cabin, there's going to be a big regional park coming your way soon, which is going to be very nice. So if you have ideas of what it should look like, we'll tell you.
Call our office.
We'll tell you how to reach the councilwoman by the end of the program. Sounds good. Councilman, this is great. We love when businesses are doing well, especially during the rough year that we've had. You posted this on Facebook. I thought it was great. Congratulations to the Vault Bicycle Shop in Ward 6, owned by Mike Scoy, who has been voted top 100 best bicycle shops in America for 2020. So congratulations to the gang out there. And there's the Vault right there. Now, he specializes in what, vintage or unique bicycles, kind of?
He specializes in all bikes. He actually just has a vintage portion, which is really cool because, I remember when I was 7, I had a blue Schwinn with this kind of wickery basket in the front with flowers on it.
I remember those,
and I had the little bell on it with the strings, the different color strings.
The streamers, gotta have those.
So, he can recreate that if you want.
Wow.
And so he's an amazing individual. He has an amazing family. And one thing with the pandemic, David, I'll tell you, all these bike shops sold out of bikes. They literally sold out because people, number one, weren't allowed to go to work. They weren't allowed to do anything. So people started getting outdoors.
They did.
Yeah, so the pandemic, I think, reset a lot of folks into just breathing and relaxing and
taking time to maybe try it for their health or whatever it might be.
That didn't happen with me, but
But you encouraged a lot of folks.
But I encouraged people to do that. I did go bicycle riding. I did buy a bike. So it was really.
You did go bicycle riding. I do recall that. You and Councilwoman Seaman got out on the road. I recall that. It's interesting. We like to highlight our businesses, especially those that have been brave enough to stick it out through this pandemic, especially the smaller businesses like there at the Vault. So those businesses, especially to hear when they get national recognition like that, that makes us very proud.
It's just
and,
amazing. It's amazing. And all of our businesses, and I tell folks, David, if you're a small business in Ward 6 and you want us to come out and highlight you and do social media, whatever kind of business, whether it's a restaurant, a bicycle shop, whatever, we'll come out. We'll come out. We send them certificates every new business that opens in Ward 6. We send them a beautiful letter and a welcome to Ward 6 certificate. To their business. So if businesses need our help, giving them a kickstart on social media, we'll do that too.
Yeah, and those small businesses, as we've talked about many times, they are the backbone of our local economy, really our economy across the country. So we'd like to see our local businesses thriving, and boy, it's been a rough year for every business, let alone the small ones. So when we can tout some of their successes and see the success like we saw at the Vault there, that's great. And so keep it up, everybody. And sooner or later, these things are all going to turn around and it's going to be back to normal.
That's what we're hoping.
Right. So, well, speaking of doing things differently, the mayor did her State of the City address this past year virtually. For the first time ever, Mayor Goodman gave the address, as you can see here, in a video versus doing it live in the council chambers. And she highlighted all the wards, but specifically from Ward 6, she talked about the pump track, the new pump track out there's the hay barn. She mentioned the hay barn and the renovations that are taking place out there. The big interchange, Councilwoman, that's going to be nice when it's done. Not so great now as they work through it at NDOT, but once it's finished, that interchange will be key. And then the other amenities that are coming out there to Ward 6 as well, including some of the housing developments. They're going to be exciting.
Very exciting. We have a big project by Olympia companies out near Cold Creek and Corn Creek, and it's about 900 acres. It's really supposed to be about 1,200 acres, but with all the easements and stuff, we're down to about 900 acres. And because we have Creech Air Force Base, we're going to have some of our military housing, a lot of commercial, so it's multi-zone, and it's just going to be really cool. And I have to tell you, as a person that's lived in the Northwest for the 29 years that I've been here in the city, I'm actually looking at relocating more north. Out towards there, maybe more land. Right now I'm on a half acre. And so I went from 2.5 acres to a half acre. And when you do that, you're okay for a little bit, but then you want your space back.
You outgrow
so
it, yeah.
I outgrow it.
And you've got a big family too.
I have 7 grandkids and my kids, and then their husbands and their friends. And, you know, as Nona, as mom, like if you go in my garage, I have all my kids' crap, right? I have the chairs that they want. They want to hold on to them.
Oh, Mom, you can't get rid of this.
I don't know why they want to hold on to these chairs, but they want to hold on to these chairs that you're not going to be able to sell. But in their mind, they're going to sell them. You know, they're 30-year-olds. So whatever. I'm like, okay, honey, I'll hold them for 2 more weeks.
And then we got to do something.
Yeah, even though they've been in my garage
I got to be able to park the car
5 years.
Right.
Yeah. So, but it's really, so I'm looking at more land out there, and it is the Wild West out there. So we have all of our horses out there, and it's nice.
It's a nice blend because you're in the city limits technically, but you really have kind of a rural or almost like a country feel out there at the same time. So there's room to spread out, there's room for horses, etc. So. Councilwoman, I wanted to ask you this: as far as we're working with the Air Force. Because Creech is out that direction to help accommodate housing for the military personnel as well, right?
Yes, that's what we're doing. And it's so important because right now I have about 1,600 Creech Air Force men and women that live in Ward 6. And a lot of them live near Providence, because it's the closest that they have.
Which isn't really that close,
It's not that close.
Still not that close.
So with the Corn Creek out there, it's a lot closer. We'll have a dynamic to where part of that multi-use property will be with the military. And I was just on the base last Friday talking with the new commander, Commander Dye, and he's excited. And that's one thing I will say is we all love our military, and whatever they need in the support, we here at the city will support them.
Well, I know the Air Force specifically has been very pleased with how the city of Las Vegas has been working with them to try to accommodate. You mentioned 1,600. That's a lot of people in your ward that work out at Creech. And if we can make it easier for them, that's a hike back and forth. But also, if we could just make it more user-friendly for them.
One of the big things I'll be working on for our military personnel this session, because we've got our state session starting here right now, is getting reciprocity for the spouses. So let's say we have a transfer and a spouse is a doctor or a nurse. Right now, it's taking about 6 to 9 months to get the reciprocity card where they can practice in this state and they practiced in another state. And that's something that our legislature has to fix. That's something I'll be pushing for with our state legislators. They call it the Gang of 63 up there. So, and me pushing, I'm a pushy girl. So we'll get that done.
Yeah,
I'm
sure they'll hear you, exactly. Well, that's interesting. But again, trying to accommodate our military families, make it as easy as possible for them. Councilwoman, we should let everybody know we have a program available. Through the pandemic, people have had a tough time making ends meet, but we have a utility tax rebate that's available to some folks who qualify. This is important. It's a utility tax sewer rebate program. Of course, sewer services within the city are a City of Las Vegas function. It started on January 4th, runs through March 15th. Again, if you are over the age of 60 and if your household income would be considered in the low range, you're probably able to qualify for this rebate. But Councilman, we can tell everybody there's the information. You can call 702-229-1515 to schedule an appointment. That would be Tuesdays through Thursdays, 10 to 3, and we'll walk you through the program. Of course, your office would be able to answer some of these questions.
Yeah, and they'll answer them. So with the low income for this particular tax rebate, if you're single and you make less than $16,500, or if you're a couple and you make less than $18,500, you can apply. Or if you're 60 and above, because you're on a set income. Yeah,
exactly right. And I'll tell you, people have really gravitated toward those types of opportunities through this past year, whether it be for electric utilities, sewer utilities, whatever it might be, because it's been hard. People have been out of work.
It's rough. It's rough. It's rough. You know, I look at the things that we spend money on, and like for instance, I look at my Cox bill, and you're talking about a girl. I don't watch TV. I don't watch TV at all. I'm on the internet. But I don't watch TV. But my mom watches TV, right? So I want to make sure. It's like if your kids
gotta have it.
You got to have it. So you look at that. You can call Cox and you can say, hey, what can we do? What's minimum? What's this? What's that? Look at your cell phone bills. I mean, just simplify. Like 2021 is the year of simplification. I know I am going to start giving a lot of stuff away. Once upon a time, yearly, I would probably give about 100 pairs of shoes away. Well, I didn't do that last year. I didn't do that in 2020 or in 2019. I think I'm going to do that now. Like, just go through all your closets. Just start simplifying. Give stuff away. Give stuff to charity, and just start simplifying life, including your bills. Make them less.
Make it simpler. Exactly. All right. Well, again, take advantage of that rebate program. If you think you qualify, we'll help you. For the end of the show, we'll tell you how to get in touch with Councilwoman Fiore's office, and they can walk you through that as well. Councilwoman, you posted this. We're well into the new year. We're into 2020, but you posted this because you haven't been on the show since before Christmas, so we wanted to mention this. It's the most wonderful time of the year. It is such a privilege to be able to give so many children beautiful gifts during Christmas time. And so I know Christmas has been a couple of months ago now, but it's been a while since we've been able to see on the program, and we wanted to mention all the things that did take place during the holidays.
Yes, and when you look at that Santa picture, you can't see the plexiglass. So it looks like it's just Santa, and so that's what we really strive to do. And we gave all the kids presents depending upon their gender and age, and because you just don't know. What if their parents were out of work? You just don't know, David.
Yeah, it was a challenging year, and you felt bad because so many things. Kids didn't have the normal graduations. They weren't having the normal Christmas or Easter or the normal festivities because they just weren't happening.
No.
And so we just tried to figure out ways that we could still accommodate something, and you did a beautiful job trying to fix that out, and trying to make it work. So like the plexiglass between Santa and the kids for the photos.
Yeah.
Hey, you know,
and we took everyone's temperature.
Oh, sure.
You know, so we did everything we were supposed to do, right? But made it look like we were just normal, right? Like we weren't doing any of that, but we did it all, and it was really fun. And talking about some of the things we did and some of the most recent trends. The last time your co-anchor, Nancy Byrne, was here with me, and we were sitting here, and I don't know if you remember this, about a week or two ago, but it was trending with Bernie's mittens.
Yeah, yes,
right?
exactly.
Right, so you're sitting there, David, and I'm sitting here, but Nancy was sitting there, and I was sitting here, and we had our graphic artist put Bernie and his beautiful mittens,
he's been everywhere,
sitting with Nancy and I. So the last show we did with Bernie and his mittens, and it was just quite fun. It was fun, and we posted that on social media.
See, you know, it's the magic of, it used to be the magic of TV, now it's the magic of social media, the magic of everything. So, well, speaking of social media, you also posted this on Facebook. You said, it's Christmas time, and Santa is here at Floyd Lamb Park. Our fantasy forest is the best one ever. And we talked about that at the top of the show. Normally, this is a deal where, you know, people could, you know, just really take it in. This year, we had to walk through. It was different. It was different, but we had to make it safe. But there it was. We still managed to have it in some sense. And look at the horses. They were still out there this year.
Isn't that sweet? Yeah, we had a good time. So we just make it work. Where there's a will, there's a way. You know, sometimes, you know, extreme cautious people will say, what are you doing? And then we'll have to explain, we're taking everyone's temperature and we're doing it the right way to make them comfortable.
In the carriage, those were your grandkids.
Those are my grandkids,
that's your family there.
That's my family,
hence the no masks on everyone. That's all one
Yeah,
family.
exactly.
So,
that's all mine.
So
and
let
me tell you, being a Nona, the germs I get, I mean, Jackson, who's 2, like we have this thing where we literally eat each other's face off. Like he puts his whole mouth over my face, snots all over his face, everything. So yeah, when you got the germs of children, you're good.
He loves you.
Yeah, my grandkids, I got to tell you, my grandkids love me because I'm the Nona and there's no discipline.
Well, there you go.
No
That's the advantage of being the grandparent, right? So, and then Councilwoman, of course, you and Councilwoman Seaman also lighted the menorah.
We did.
With the Israel American Council. This took place, of course, the first night of Hanukkah, which is December 12th this year. And there you are, you're out with the Councilwoman lighting the menorah. Maybe that was not the first night. It looks like
it was night 2.
Yeah, it was night 2, because I was going to say we got some other candles burning there. And then I loved it because you had the dancing dreidels. There they are.
Yeah. And they're really good.
They are good.
They are really good dancers.
They came to City Hall as well.
They sure did.
And they're not just jumping around. They have a whole routine. So,
they have a whole routine.
So, but we covered it. And I know, folks, that's been, you know, a little while ago now. But it's been a while since she's been on the show. So we wanted to show you some of the holiday happenings.
Yeah, just some of the great things.
Yeah.
And I have to say, David, you know, before I got with the city, I used to do this all by myself.
I know you did.
All by myself with Chance Bonaventura and whomever Chance decided to hire or pull in, right? And now we have a team. We have Jeff, we have Chance, we have Marianne, we have a team. And then we have Christy Garnis, who is the secret weapon and all of her staff.
She's our special events. She's our special events person here at the city.
So we take it up a notch, and we really do great things.
Yeah, we really do. And the idea, again, folks, is to try to bring a little cheer and fun into the ward. You guys are paying for this stuff. You're the taxpayers. We're trying to take that money and provide it for services for you. That's the idea. So. Well, I'm amazed that you had that many events in a year when so many things had been canceled. Again, we were saying...
Most of them were privately sponsored.
Yeah, and done differently. I mean, it wasn't...
it was definitely different, but it was really, David, I have to say, just to make sure that our folks know that the city of Las Vegas is here for them through these hard times. I just think it says a lot. All the staff here, all the staff.
It's a great point.
Volunteers. Because besides, you know, us 4 in my office, we have 30 to 35 city staff members that are with us on every event.
Yeah, working hard. And folks, the one thing, as Councilwoman pointed out, during the pandemic, we didn't really take any days off. We were deemed essential government workers, so we kept going through all of this. And
plus, a lot of folks needed us to deliver food to their house.
Of all kinds of services.
Yeah.
They needed us to continue government and to provide the services that we normally provide. We couldn't just stop or suspend operations. And made for a challenging year. We had to find a lot of different ways to do things, and but we plugged along.
We did.
Here
We
are.
plugged along. We had some of our constituents that had COVID that couldn't go to the grocery store because they had
You guys
COVID.
took care of them, yeah.
They didn't know about Amazon or ordering food to deliver. They just didn't get that, or they weren't on the internet. So we literally dropped food to many, many homes, many people. And we said, listen, we'll give them a week's supply, and if you need another week, let us know before you run out, and we'll do another week or two.
We found ourselves in a situation where really we were the clearinghouse of information. People had a million questions about what was going on, what to do, how to get services. They didn't really know who to contact, so they contacted the city or the council offices directly. So we had 1 million clicks on our website with information about the coronavirus. We had, at one time, we were averaging 600 calls a day to the call center. And your office, Councilwoman, I know all the council offices were just swamped with people with all types of requests, all kinds of questions about what was, where services were available, what was going to be open, what was going to be closed.
Our biggest problem that I really feel bad that we couldn't help was with the unemployment. That was our biggest problem as a state. And the mayor and I really worked hard on listening, right? Because it was out of our control. And that's the first time, as the councilwoman, something was out of my control.
Yeah, you couldn't.
Do you see what I'm saying?
We had no say over that.
You know, I couldn't keep writing like $600-700 checks to people, right? Because we couldn't do that. We can't do that. So it was really, that was heartbreaking for me.
I know, it was a challenge. But again, we tried to take care of everything that was within our control. And certainly we answered a lot of questions and directed people to the right places. So, which is what we're going to do right now, Councilwoman. We always want to hear from you. If you have something you'd like to share with Councilwoman Fiore, you can always find her on Facebook and Twitter. She's very active. You can also contact the Councilwoman just by picking up the phone. Her number is 702-229-6405, or send her an email. Her address is mfiore@lasvegasnevada.gov. And she or one of her great staff members will get right back to you and answer your questions. If you have an issue, problem, something you want worked out, they will be on it. So, well, great job. So we'll see you back here in 6 weeks with another update from Ward 6. It won't be quite as long. We had a long break this time because of the holidays and everything else, but we'll see you back in 6 weeks this time around. So, all right?
Thanks, David.
All right, thank you so much. And we want to thank you for joining us for this edition of Access City Council. Our next show begins airing on February 18th with Ward 1 City Councilman Brian Knutson. You can now catch all of our KCLV shows on Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire. And don't forget, you can watch us live on the internet at kclv.tv. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time around. Please stay safe out there.